I'm joined by Jake Hager, who is going to be making his Bellator and mixed martial arts debut coming up here January 26th. He's going to be taking on JW Kiser at Bellator 214. Jake, how are you today, man?
Excellent, my friend. Excellent. Thank you for having me on here. I get to get away from training for a little bit. Stop getting punched in the face. It's nice.
Yeah, and as this debut gets a little bit closer, any nerves settling in? I mean, you're a guy who's fought at the high levels and, NCAA wrestling and the WWE, obviously, but and does this feel a little bit different heading into the debut?
It does feel different. And normally in the past for college amateur wrestling and big shows for the WWE, I would have a little bit of nerves, a little bit of anxiety. But I think right now I feel how big this opportunity is, and I'm really excited about it. MMA is so popular right now. Pro wrestling is so popular right now. So this is a huge opportunity for me. And I'm just really ready to go out there and perform at a high level and really hold nothing back.
Why Bellator and not the UFC? Was there just not a UFC offer? Was Bellator just more enticing with, not the limitations on sponsorship? What was the reason to go with Bellator?
For me, the biggest part was they wanted to work with me. It was really nice from the beginning. They've been there hand in hand with me, helping me, and so that was a big part of it. And I don't know, when I was leaving the company, when I was leaving WWE, I just noticed a huge trend of a lot of the popular fighters were moving over there, and it seemed like Bellator was the place to go if you wanted to get taken care of and still be successful.
How has the training differed from pro wrestling to training in MMA? There is differences, obviously, but how have you found it? Has it been more difficult than you anticipated?
Going into it, I was like, oh yeah, I wrestled Division I collegiate. I know how to train hard. I know how to condition, and it's blown it away, bar none. It's the hardest sport on the planet. So many disciplines and just another level of conditioning. It's honestly been one of the best things I've ever done. My body was pretty beat up at the end of that 12-year run with the company, and it's surprising that the hard training has had such a great effect, and my body has responded so well to it, and I feel better than I ever have. I'm more flexible than I ever have, and honestly, I'm in less pain than I had been, chronic pain.
This is a big decision, leaving pro wrestling and going to mixed martial arts. Did you consult with anyone, any fighters, anyone at all that was maybe like a mentor or someone that sort of, gave good advice and someone you can go to about making such a transition?
Yeah, it was a huge decision, big investment in myself. I spoke with my manager, Danny Rubenstein, for a long time about it. This was like 5 years in the making, since like 2012, 2013, when our old college teammate, Matt Grice, was fighting in Tampa, where I live, and they were all in town. And since then, I've had the bug, and we've just kind of slowly been planning and talking about it. And so it was inevitable, and it just so happens it was at the peak of popularity for both sports, so great opportunity.
I was going to ask you about that. How long have you known Danny Rube? I got to give him credit because he's been great manager to a lot of fighters, and you have a good guy in your corner in terms of the industry, I would say.
Yeah, very lucky to have a manager that I've wrestled with, that I've shared a locker room with. I've shared the battlefield with Danny, so like we can speak to each other differently. We can communicate on a different level, and it's really good because he's been out here navigating the waters, and I'm brand new to it. So to have someone that I can trust like that, it's an amazing addition to the team.
What do you know about your opponent, JW Kiser? There's a couple fights on YouTube. He fought for Shamrock FC. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him?
I haven't focused too much on him. I've just been focusing on me and bettering myself and the little things that I need to do every day, and stay safe and simple with it. I know the guy is a hard hitter. I know he's a veteran, even though he has only a couple professional fights. The guy is no stranger to the cage, and I know he's ready to shock the world, as he said on Twitter. So, the way I look at it is, you can put anybody against me right now. This is my moment. This is my investment, and I'm going to show what I'm about.
And for those who might not be familiar, where are you training right now, and who have been some of your main training partners for this camp?
Man, I've been so lucky to have these guys come on this journey with me for the last year and a half, 2 years. It's been very, very special. Josh Rafferty lives in Tampa, and he's the mad scientist behind my strength and conditioning, behind my boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. We got Rob Bradford, who was Rich Franklin's head coach, multiple world champion, been in many big fights. And then Ybor City's best kept secret and Joey Best as far as the jiu-jitsu goes. And those three guys have been instrumental in the last year and a half. I would go out on the weekends, wrestle Friday, Saturday, Sunday at a pro wrestling show. And then I come home, and Monday through Thursday, they would really give me a lot of their time, almost do 2-a-days during that time, get like 7-8 practices in those 4 days. And gosh, they really haven't asked a lot out of me financially. They've just been willing to go along the way and really believe in me, which has been great. And, when you're training like this, everybody can be a diva. So it's nice to have those guys that are there with you for the long haul.
Josh Rafferty is a name I haven't heard in ages. I watched him on season 1 of The Ultimate Fighter. So I guess he went into coaching after, because I always wondered what happened to him after his UFC career.
Yeah. He's the main dude. Had a couple neck surgeries, but still doing very well. Living in Tampa. I'm kind of a special case for him, whereas I don't think he wants to train a bunch of guys. So, like I said, I'm very lucky to get in there and get someone with his expertise and be able to pick his brain and experience. And, we're very similar in age, and so like-minded.
As a heavyweight, do you have to eat clean and be on a diet or anything like that, or do you get to eat pretty much what you want?
As a tall, lanky heavyweight, I have the disease of trying to keep weight on. I know everyone's cutting weight in the sport, and they don't want to hear me say this. I'm not very popular on the team. Never was in high school and college because I was the one eating. So like I'm focusing on calories, keeping it up because I want to be at a certain weight in there. I want to be able to move, but I want to still have that heavy to be able to drop on them.
Okay. And who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
We'll have all three of those guys: Rob Bradford, Josh Rafferty, and Joey Best. I think there will be some WWE guys in attendance, and I think R-Truth, Ron Killings, will be performing at the event for me.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome! Any of those names you can reveal that might be showing up? Any news we can break here on the interview?
And you're just gonna have to tune in and find out.
There you go. That's what we call a teaser in this business, right? So it's good. I like that. How do you see this fight unfolding on the 26th? I mean, you're focused on your skill set, not so much your opponent. I'm sure you have an idea of how you feel like this fight's going to go.
Yeah. Of course, I want to stick with the lady that got me there, which is wrestling. So I'm going to use the cage, my best friend, and get my jab out there and control the distance. And so once we get that established, we'll go from there. He's a heavy hitter, so I'm sure he's going to try to lure a rookie like me in. So we'll have to be smart about that. But honestly, I've never been in better shape. So like I'm ready to go. Like whatever we need to do, we need to change it up in there. We've been working on multiple ideas and strategies.
What's next for you after this? Is the plan to stay active? Is it just take it fight by fight? How do you assess sort of your career going forward in MMA?
I mean, the way I'm focusing right now is that this is life right now. This is where the life is going to be for the next couple of years, and focusing on getting better. Hopefully, no easy fights, and I'm not looking past this by any means. I got a very, very good opponent that I am going to have to focus heavily on, but I want to have multiple fights in 2019 and keep going.
You didn't think we'd do this interview without talking some pro wrestling. I wanted to get your thoughts. Are you still watching pro wrestling like WWE, Impact? Are you still keeping an eye on what's going on?
I'm not like current on storylines, but I know the injuries and who's out there right now. I saw that Crown Jewel tag team match between Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Undertaker and Kane.
All right, fair enough. I want to get your take on that. What about Becky Lynch? She's really blown up this last little bit. Have you been paying attention to her and what she's been accomplishing?
Yep, running both divisions. I'm not sure she still has the title in both, but like it's very cool. That's a cool thing about pro wrestling, how someone just explodes like that, and all of a sudden there's electricity with everything that they touch. And Becky is one of those dream stories. She's been a wrestling fan all her life. Quit her job. at an airline to come and try her hand at it. And it's amazing to see the success, see the passion, and, you know, who doesn't like an accent?
And her rival, Ronda Rousey, came from MMA to WWE. What were your thoughts on her transition and what she's been able to accomplish?
Yeah, great, man, great. I find that people with a background in some kind of discipline transition very well into pro wrestling. Very similar techniques, very similar mindsets, and how you train and how you prepare for the shows. So it wasn't a surprise to me that she has like transitioned and done it very quickly, I would say. And you know, you just need a little bit of something for them to push and market, and you're a star.
Who was your favorite pro wrestler growing up?
Growing up, you know, guys like Danny Hodge and Dr. Death, Steve Williams were household names. So those were my favorite. And then in the Monday Night Wars, you know, I was a big Kevin Nash guy. That was really when I first started watching, like junior high and whatnot. And then, of course, you know, all time Kurt Angle. Everything he does is just realistic. The counters are so tight, so crisp. It just makes wrestling entertaining and fun to watch.
Last question before I let you go. What do you like doing on your downtime in between training and everything like that? Are you getting in any video games? You playing any Netflix? What do I find you doing to kind of take your mind off everything? Because I know it can get a little mundane sometimes.
Oh, me? What do I like to do in my downtime? Well, I love being a dad. I have two kids, 7 and 3. So lucky to have such a beautiful wife and family. They're really my rock and who I lean on. So any downtime, we're doing something crazy. We're playing board games. We're running around in the front yard. You know, making all the neighbors jealous that their family doesn't look as beautiful as mine. Stuff like that.
There you go. Well, this is going to be an awesome card. It's coming up here January 26th. It is Bellator 214. Jake, really appreciate the time, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours, man.
Thanks, man. James, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. You can find me on Instagram, Real Jack Swagger. You can find me on Twitter, Real Jack Swagger, and you can find me on Facebook as Jack Swagger or Jake Hager. Right now, MMA sponsorships have been tough. I'm excited to announce that Venom has come on board and offered us a package that we have accepted, and we'll be going forward with them.